Welcome to part 4 of Let's Play Midnight Rogue by Graeme Davis. At the end of the last part, I was about to read paragraph 252. Here we go. You follow the passage for what seems like miles as it winds onward. Finally, you see a light in the distance, and approaching cautiously, you can see that the passage opens out into a cavern, which is empty except for a lit torch, which hangs in an iron bracket on one wall. On the far side of the cavern, another passage leads off into the darkness. You cast a long shadow in the torchlight as you cross the cavern. It seems to move with a life of its own, but you tell yourself that it's only your imagination. But you are wrong. Before you can reach the other side of the cavern, your shadow dances along the wall in front of you and suddenly climbs down off the wall, becoming a solid, shadowy being as it moves to attack you. Will you fight your own shadow, turn to 11, or will you try some other course of action, such as trying to run away before it can attack you, turn to 154, trying to douse the torch, turn to 373, trying to avoid casting a shadow, turn to 85, or trying to disrupt your shadow, turn to 113. Okay, we're going to try and disrupt our shadow, and therefore turn to 113. Here we are. Your mind works quickly. There is some kind of sorcery at work here, and you don't like the idea of fighting your own shadow at all. Then you have an idea. Shadows are caused when something blocks out light. They are patches of darkness. Now, if the shadow that's preparing to attack you is made of darkness, then you can probably use another source of light, such as the torch you are carrying, to dispel it. You hold the torch high, trying to keep it in a position where it will dispel the shadow cast by the torch on the wall. Turn to 67. Holding your torch before you, you edge closer to your shadow. It fades as the light strikes it, becoming less substantial as you move closer. It moves to sense the danger of the light, since it makes no move to attack you as you head for the passage that leads out of the cavern. If you have Spot Hidden skill, turn to 381. If you do not, turn to 27. Okay, do we have Spot Hidden? And we do, yes we do, good. So, therefore we are turning to 381. Fantasy quest books. I'll have to look into them. Anyway, 381. I can picture this. Going to Amazon and seeing one used very good for £200 or something stupid. Yes, I've just seen my future. Anyway, as you hurry out of the cavern, you notice a series of holes in the walls of the passage, 3 on each side at chest height. You crawl underneath them, and as you do so, a small dart shoots out of each hole. If you had been standing, they couldn't have missed you. Gain 1 luck point for evading the trap, and follow the passage to 191. Okay, we don't need the luck point. So we're turning to 191. You follow the passage onwards. After a little way, it broadens out and becomes more regular. The walls are made of stone slabs rather than being hewn out of the rock. You turn a corner and find a dead body in the passage. Another thief, by the look of things. A trail of blood indicates that he crawled back along the passage after being seriously wounded. You notice a symbol sketched on the floor in the thief's blood. He must have put it there as he lay dying to warn anyone who came after him. If you have Secret Sign skill, turn to 39. If you do not, turn to 231. Okay, don't think we have this one. No, we don't have secret signs. Therefore, we are turning to 231. Okay. You look at the symbol carefully. You think it's one of the secret signs of the Thieves' Guild, but you have no idea what it means. Still, you're fairly sure that there is something nasty ahead, and this dead thief was trying to warn you about it. You offer a silent prayer to the god of thieves. Is that the devil? It must be. Anyway, asking him to look after the dead thief in the next world and to look after you in this world. And then you prepare to move on. Turn to 302. Okay. As you turn to move on, a glowing, almost transparent, bright blue something comes flying down the corridor at you. It looks a little like a severed human head, but you have no time to examine it closely as you throw yourself to one side. Roll 2 dice. If the result is equal to your skill score or less, turn to 12. If not, turn to 393. Okay, our skill is 12, so we need this to be less than or equal to 12, which it's guaranteed to be. Yes, we get a 5, so that's done. Therefore, we're turning to 12. You hurl yourself to the floor, and the thing, whatever it is, misses you by a whisker. It hovers above the dead thief's body for a fraction of a second, then sinks down into it, soaking into the dead flesh like water soaks into a sponge. The body twitches once and then drags itself to its feet. Your scalp tingles as the dead eyes stare sightlessly into yours, and the dead thief shambles to attack you. Will you fight the animated corpse, turn to 82, or try to run away, turn to 192? Okay, we're going to fight the animated corpse and turn to 82. You stand firm with your weapon ready as the animated corpse shambles towards you. Fight it normally. Animated corpse, skill 5, stamina 6. Because it moves so slowly, you can run away, turn to 192, after winning a round of combat, if you wish. If you destroy the animated corpse, turn to 23. Okay, 5, 6, animated corpse. Let's do this. Animated corpse. Skill 5, stamina 6. Okay, my skill is 12. Off we go. 5 plus 8 is 13. I get 20. 13 to 20. I did roll the dice again. Just got the same number. Well, at least I pressed the mouse button. Anyway, that puts it down to 4. 5 plus 5 is 10. I get 19. 10 to 19. Puts it down to 2. 19. Okay. 5 plus 10 is 15. I get 21. 15 to 21. And that's the end of Mr. Animated Corpse, Dead Thief. So that's that. Let's remove any buzzing, should there be any. There we go. And now we're turning to 106. I think I've forgotten to do something. What have I forgotten to do? Bonds, no. Every time I win an attack round, I add 1 to my attack strength for the next round only. Right, okay, let's retroactively do this. So I won the first attack round. That means my attack was really 20, and I still won. Doesn't make any difference though. And because I won that one, this one was really 22. So that's that. I knew I forgot to do something. Anyway, never mind. Too much to remember. My limited intellect can't handle it. Anyway, if you destroy the animated corpse, turn to 23. We did, so off we go. Yeah, I got a comment in the last video, I think. Someone stated that this is just turning into another dungeon crawler. Yes, it is. Oh well. I mean, it's either dungeons or forests, really. I mean, there's not much else they can do. Dungeons or forests, or sometimes at the start wandering around a sort of medieval-ish sort of town. If it's a futuristic one, it's in space or a post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland. But apart from that, the fighting fantasy medieval ones are always a dungeon or a forest. I mean, there's not much else going on in that sort of situation, is there? Anyway, the corpse drops to the ground, but as you watch, the spectral blue face oozes back out of the dead flesh and hangs in the air before you, chuckling evilly. It is a possessor spirit, and you must fight it. If you have a magic weapon, turn to 142. If not, turn to 111. Okay, do we have a magic weapon? I have an enchanted sword, so therefore I do. 142, here we come then. Fight the possessor spirit normally. Possessor spirit, skill 10, stamina 10. Every time you lose a round of combat, you lose 1 luck point in addition to the usual 2 stamina points. If you win, turn to 323. Okay, possessor spirit 1010. Okay, so my skill is 12. His is 10. Right, 10 plus 9 is 19. I get 19, so neither of us hurts the other. I'm going to try and remember to use the extra attack round point if I win. If I win an attack round. 10 plus 8 is 18. I get 19. So 18 to 19. That means I get an extra point on my attack strength. Okay. 10 plus 9 is 19. I get 20, which goes to 21. So 19 to 21. Puts them down to 6. 10 plus 11 is 21. I get 22, which goes to 23. So 21 to 23. Puts them down to 4. 10 plus 7 is 17. I get 17, but I get the extra point, which is 18. So 17 to 18. Yeah, because I won the previous attack round, I get that extra point of attack strength. Only if I win the previous attack round, though. Anyway, 10 plus 8 is 18. I get 22, 23. So 18 to 23. That's the end of Mr. Possessor Spirit. Goodbye. There we go. If you win, turn to 323, and I didn't have to lose any luck points either. 323. I only really needed the extra attack strength point one time there to put me over that. Otherwise it would have been a draw for that attack round. Anyway, the attack round that stated, well, that was 17 to 18, the penultimate one. Anyway, 323. 323, I should say. Anyway, the possessor spirit disappears in a shower of bright blue sparks. A rapid search of the body turns up 5 gold pieces, a throwing knife, a long piece of heavy wire with a book at the end, a long piece of heavy wire with a hook at the end, pardon me, and a flask. The flask has been cracked in the fight and a potion is leaking out of it. There is enough potion left for one drink, but only if you drink it now. Turn to 247 if you drink the potion. Record anything you take on your adventure sheet. Only the wire counts as a backpack item. Okay, so we are going to take the 5 gold pieces, of course. That puts us up to 31. We're going to take the throwing knife. We're not going to take the long piece of heavy wire. However, we are going to drink the potion and therefore turn to 247. The potion restores your skill score to its initial level. Change your adventure sheet accordingly, then go back to 323. We need not do that because our skill is already at its initial score at 12. Therefore that was useless, but still it's nice to do. 323. Okay, so we read that already. You move onward along the passage, following the trail of blood left by the dying thief. The trail leads to a door in the left-hand wall of the passage. The door stands ajar, and you peer through the doorway into a room furnished only with a great iron cage. Locked in the cage is a dwarf. "Let me out," he pleads. "I'm a thief like you. If you let me out, we can look for the eye of the basilisk together." If you let the dwarf out of the cage, turn to 6. If you make sure he's a thief first, turn to 86. If you ignore him and carry on down the passage, turn to 155. Okay, we're going to ignore him and carry on down the passage and turn to 155. Excuse me. You carry on down the passage. It narrows abruptly, and the dressed stone walls give way to a rough-hewn rock again. Soon you see why. Both walls are dotted with small holes, about 3 inches across. Between the holes, the floor is littered with bones and other rubbish. A rat, disturbed by the light of your torch, skitters down the passage in front of you. As it goes, it disturbs some of the rubbish, and instantly a sharp-jawed caterpillar-like creature, something like a rock grub, but smaller and faster, shoots from each of the holes, attracted by the noise. The rat doesn't stand a chance, and is quickly torn to pieces. You wait for the grubs to return to their holes and then move forward cautiously. You must move absolutely silently in order to get past without disturbing them. Turn to 25 if you have sneak skill, 128 if you don't. Okay, we do have the that skill, which is there. So we are going to turn to 25. Hardly daring to breathe, you pick your way through the bones and other debris. It seems like hours before you are past the holes, but finally you make it. You let out a sigh of relief, and as you do so, the grubs shoot from their burrows again. You shudder to think how sensitive their hearing is. Turn to 84. A few yards further on, the passage widens again and is faced with dressed stone as before. You come to a door in the right-hand side of the passage. Will you listen at the door? Turn to 10. Try to open it? Turn to 140. Or ignore it and carry on down the passage? Turn to 374. Okay, we are going to ignore it and carry on down the passage and turn to 374. Here we are. At last, the passage comes to an end. You had begun to think that it would go on forever, but you find yourself peering into a huge cavern with no visible exits. Is this the hiding place of the Eye of the Basilisk? The cavern is featureless, and its roof is lost in darkness, beyond the range of torchlight. Oh, and its roof is lost in darkness beyond the range of torchlight. You move cautiously into the cavern and start to check the walls for concealed doorways or hiding places. Suddenly, your attention is caught by a rattling noise from above you. You raise your torch and look up, trying to see where the noise is from where the noise is coming. Or should I say, you raise your torch and look up, trying to see whence the noise is coming, and see an immense spider, fully 5 feet across the body, dropping like a stone towards you. Roll 2 dice. If the result is equal to your skill score or less, turn to 207. If not, turn to 304. Okay. Our skill is 12, so we're guaranteed to be successful, which we are, of course. So we're turning to 207. Here we are. You throw yourself to one side as the giant spider crashes to the cavern floor, and barely have time to roll back to your feet before it is upon you. Fight the giant spider normally. Giant spider, skill 7, stamina 8. If you lose a round of combat, lose 2 stamina points and turn to 285. If you kill the giant spider without losing a single round of combat, turn to 353. Okay, I have it on good authority that if we do lose a round of combat, 7, 8. If we do lose a round of combat, we have to test our we have to test our stamina, I think, and if we fail, then we have instant death because it's a venomous spider. Anyway, giant spider 7, 8. There we go. One more, that's it. Okay, so 7, 8. Don't forget we can still use the extra attack strength point if we win an attack round. Anyway, 7 plus 5 is 12. I get 19, so 12 to 19. Oops, there we go. Puts them down to 6. Right, now we can use an extra attack strength point if we... Well, we are anyway, whether we need it or not. 7 plus 8 is 15. I get 17, which is 18. Returns to 18. 15 to 18. Down to 4, sorry. There we go. Okay, 7 plus 9 is 16, sorry. I get 20 to 21. So 16 to 21. Seven plus 6 is 13. I get 17, which turns to 18. So 13 to 18. That's the end of Mr. Giant Spider. So, which reminds me, of course, of the almost made me think of Madame Spider, which is Madame Octa, which is the pet spider on the Darren Shan books. You know, I read the first 3 of them when I was about 16 or something years ago, and obviously, yeah, and I couldn't find the 4th one from the library because I used to get books from the library in those days, and then I gave up watching it. As I got older, I realised that I find vampires quite boring, especially vampire books, and I'm not into them at all now. I have seen all the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episodes, and anyway, thankfully I haven't seen any of the Twilight films, but it's just vampires and zombies are just too, they're just everywhere these days, and and dare I say, they're just very long in the tooth and boring now. I don't really want to read the rest of the Darren Shan books. It's always the same sort of plot. Oh yes, he meets an old vampire who turns out to be 500 years old or something. He gets turned into one and he has superpowers. Why is it always superpowers? Why do they always have superpowers? I don't get it. You know, they always have superpowers. Anyway, so I haven't read any more of the Darren Shan books, and I'm not going to. And that's that. Anyway, where was I? Yes, we killed the giant spider without losing a single round of combat, and so we're turning to 353. Once the giant spider is dead, you are able to look around you. There are no passages leading out of the cavern apart from the one by which you came in, so you decide to investigate the ceiling, which is lost in darkness. If you have climb skill, turn to 265. If you do not, turn to 399. Okay, we do have the climb skill because we've got a rope and grapnel. Rope and grapnel, which is there, which gave us the climb skill. So therefore, we are turning to 265. As you climb, you realise that the cavern is really a wide vertical shaft, and soon you reach the giant spider's web, strung right across the shaft from one side to the other. You shudder as you notice several silk-wrapped packages hanging in the web. Each is about the right size and shape to be a human body. If you investigate the bodies, turn to 290. If not, keep on climbing to 341. Okay, we're going to investigate the bodies and turn to 290. As you make your way across the web, you notice that some strands are sticky and some are not. The spider obviously uses the non-sticky strands to retrieve prey that has been caught on the sticky ones. You must try to avoid the sticky strands as you investigate the bodies. Roll 2 dice. You may subtract 2 from the amount rolled if you have spot hidden skill. Do we have spot hidden? Yes, we do. If the result is equal to your skill score or less, turn to 382. If not, turn to 222. Okay, so we can subtract 2 from the dice roll. So 6 minus 2 is 4, and that is equal to or less than our skill score, which is 12. Therefore, we are turning to 382. Okay. Carefully cutting the spider silk from around the body, you find that it is indeed human. You avoid the face, you don't want to find out whether it's anyone you know, and concentrate on looking for usable equipment. You find a backpack with enough provisions for 2 meals, but that is all. You decide that you can't face investigating the other bodies, and resume your climb to 341. Okay, so we have another 2 provisions. It puts us up to 12. I think I might use some provisions, why not? So that puts us back up to 22 stamina again. And down to 11 provisions. I know it's a bit of a waste, but oh well. My decision, I'll stand by it. Anyway, 341. At the top of the shaft, another passage leads away. As you follow the passage, it gets damper and damper until moisture is running down the walls, and the walls and ceiling are coated with occasional patches of mould. Finally, the passage comes to an end. The wall at the end is covered with a thick coating of bright yellow mould, which looks almost like the fur of some strange animal. There seems to be no way onward, but you are sure that there must be a hidden exit. You've seen more than one apparent dead end already. If you have spot hidden skill, turn to 88. If you do not, turn to 378. Okay, we do have the spot hidden ability. Therefore, we're turning to 88. You notice something glinting in the blanket of mould that covers the end of the passage. Looking closer, you see that it is metal, part of a doorknob, by the look of it. You reach to turn the doorknob, and then you see something else. To one side of the door, that must be underneath all the mould, there is a lump which you thought was just an irregularity in the rock. But as you look more closely, you can see that it is a body. The mould has grown over it and obscured its shape, but it is definitely a body. You stop and think. You remember hearing somewhere that there are types of mould which fire clouds of spores into the air the moment that anything disturbs them. The spores are poisonous and cause death almost instantly, giving the mould a fresh supply of organic matter on which to grow. The problem is you have to open the door without disturbing the mould. If you have pickpocket skill, turn to 197. If not, what will you do? Will you try to burn the mould away with your torch, turn to 160, or cover your nose and mouth, charge the door, and hope for the best, turn to 115? Okay, we do have the pickpocket skill. Therefore, we are turning to 197. You reach cautiously for the doorknob and manage to get a 3-fingered grip on it without disturbing the mould. Slowly, painfully slowly, you begin to turn it, praying that the door isn't locked. There is a slight click and the door shifts a fraction. Holding your breath, you throw the door open and run through the dense, mustard-coloured cloud of spores that suddenly fills the air and into a small chamber. You don't stop to breathe until you are well clear of the spore cloud. Turn to 69. You find a passage leading out of the chamber and hurry down it, eager to escape the spores. The passage forks, and you can see a number of turnings leading off from each side of either passage, like a maze. Do you have a map? If you have, turn to 362. If not, turn to 81. Okay, we do not have a map. There's no map in there. Therefore, we are turning to 81. On instinct, you set off down the left-hand passage, but you are not sure which is the right way, and soon you realise that you are lost in a maze of tunnels. Test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 178. If you are unlucky, turn to 370. Okay, our luck is currently 12, so let's test our luck. We need this to be less than or equal to 12, which it is, good. But we've used a luck point, so we have to put our luck down to 11. Okay, so we were lucky, so we're turning to 178. Okay, you finally come to a small chamber carved out of the bedrock and devoid of... Actually, I'll read this in the next video. So, thanks for watching. I'll put the next paragraph as 178. Unread. Should be able to finish this book off in the next video. We're very nearing. We're very much near the end. So yeah, we should be able to finish this off in the next video. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you can join me next time, and goodbye.